Good morning. I'm a little post sunrise, but I'm excited to get this last chapter read. I'm out here at Walnut Creek. It is very flooded, and there is a lot of happy birds. Thank you for being with me. Chapter 13, Differences, the most valuable asset of any relationship. Wiley Dog is in here, and he is traipsing about with his wet feet. So that's not me, as if. All right, the 3 R's, coming to conclusions. The most usual and most tragic post-mortem result of any failed or dying human relationship is to say that it failed or died because of the irreconcilable differences between the parties, as if somehow to be different from one's partner in a relationship was from the very beginning wrong. Yet, all life and love can only thrive and grow because of difference. Sameness stultifies. Stultifies. A word I do not know. Difference entices us with its promise of surprise, stimulation, new awareness, and wider understanding. Sameness only dulls. To be fulfilled in a relationship does not involve hoping the other partner will eventually turn out to be the same as we are. To be fulfilled is to hope that the partner will be different and that our combined differences will create a vital unity that will ultimately prove more exciting and satisfying than its individual parts. Sadly, excuse me, Lord. Sadly, those differences between two separate and highly individual people, which originally are the source of such mutually attracting appeal, yield so much delight in their discovery, confer so much warmth and comfort in their complementary wholeness, and such strength in their reconciliation, come to be blamed for the destruction of the relationship. Somewhere along the line, the differences stopped being accepted, wondered at, appreciated, and loved. They stopped being seen as complementary and mutually strengthening. They began, instead, to be taken for granted and seen as contrariness and attempts to be contradictory. They began to grate. The more they clashed, the more incompatible became those two separate and highly individual people who once shared a mutually fulfilling relationship. It is often said, with regret, that one's initial expectations in a relationship are so high as to be unrealistic. They are unrealistic if one is not prepared to work to make those expectations come true, as one would be prepared to work in any other similar choice, such as a career, to make expectations come true. Differences are not what break a relationship. What breaks up a relationship is refusing to accept that there are differences and that they are in fact the finest assets of that relationship. The entire framework of the world is built on differences. It is the merging of thesis and antithesis that brings into life the synthesis of the whole. To claim that the different is somehow unnatural is like trying to create clones of one's self, exact mirror images. To force other people to behave like us is merely to alienate them because they are not like us. The irreconcilable differences so often are not irreconcilable at all. They are shallow and self-serving expectations of sameness, which cannot be reconciled with reality. The real cause of the breakdown of love is a selfish desire not to understand the differences in others, and by tyranny or manipulation, to try to force them to behave like us. As we have seen, there is not one single personality type in the world, but to force one to behave exactly the same way as another is as logically absurd as asking a cat to behave like a dog. Side note, they do that stuff on their own. It is a case, put brutally, if like it or lump it, we can either view these differences as sources of wonder, nourishment, and comfort, or as irritations, causes for anger and withdrawal. It's so loud. All right, the next little section is the 3 R's, making things work. In any relationship, we should not be like Ann Tyler's accidental tourist, but visitors who have carefully studied the ways and customs of those foreigners, the other personality types, and come to them ready, not to force them to do things the way we do them back home, but to learn from them and perhaps find out that sometimes they do things better than we do. And they, in turn, may be surprised and charmed by some of our ways. Just as an open-minded intertwining of different cultures can create a rich fabric of diversity, which strengthens and revitalizes each part, so the coming together of 2 personalities, with their different ways of thinking and feeling, of doing and saying things, of living and even loving, can create an exquisite mosaic of love. But we so seldom succeed because we are not prepared for it. We would never arrive in an alien culture with an unknown language and unfamiliar customs without at least a guidebook or an elementary knowledge of how to deal with their strange differences. Yet we constantly leap into relationships without any plans whatsoever, merely hoping that something will turn up to make everything all right. Without knowledge, foresight, and planning, nothing will turn up. Without a thorough understanding of the 3 R's, nothing, not pious hopes, or marriage counselors, or sympathetic friends, will make everything all right. We must read in order to understand who other people are, why they think and feel the way they do, and how they convey what they think and feel, and understand the real meaning of what they are communicating in their terms by, first, recognizing and identifying their personality type, And the second, observing and understanding how they use the moods of rejection to express their personality and to communicate their needs, so that we can then respond directly to who other people are and what they are thinking and feeling, and understand and address their real meaning in their terms by first recognizing and identifying our own personality type and being aware that who we think we are is not what they think we are. And the last one, using their mood frequency to communicate with them and satisfy their needs. This then enables that other person to reciprocate, to read and understand who we are, why we think and feel the way we do, how we convey what we think and feel, and to respond to and address the real meaning of our mood frequency in order to satisfy our needs in our own terms by, first, explaining how we recognize and understand the way they think, feel, and communicate their real meaning. And the next is comparing and contrasting together the different ways we both think, feel, and communicate our real meaning. And the next, discovering together how and when those differences both attract and repel. And finally, rediscovering and deepening our understanding of why our differences are so vital to a mutually fulfilling relationship. And most important, if we are ever to satisfy that basic human need to share our hopes and dreams and fears in the spirit of real love, we must learn to tune in to the other person's mood frequency. Let's see if I can put this up here. I saw it yesterday's and I was like, okay, I can't even read that, so I wanted to apologize about that. For the feeler, and then here's what we're gonna need to do for the driver. I'm gonna read all these to you like always. Maybe we need a little note for getting along with the whatever type is in our life. Alright, let's try it. Okay. This is the way the tuning it. Excuse me. Tuning in to the other person's mood frequency. For the feeler, by talking to them in terms of feelings, being sensitive to their physical reactions, being gentle, polite, and empathetic, lowering our voice and slowing our speech, presenting one idea at a time, never dominating, controlling, or forcing them into anything. Being patient and never rushing them or interrupting their pauses or silences. Asking them directly what they think. But above all, listening when they talk. All right. We must learn to tune in to the other person's mood frequency. For the driver, by being wholehearted in everything we say and do, speeding up our thought processes and speaking more quickly. By speaking in concrete, not abstract terms, and always using examples from real situations to prove our point or back up our opinion. Being direct, succinct, and making our points quickly and without long-windedness, by being assertive, not backing down or giving in. And the last one for the driver, by allowing them to control the direction and flow of any conversation, unless we are very sure we will win a continuous battle for domination. All right, we must learn to tune in to the other person's mood frequency. Excuse me, Lord. For the analyzer, by being calm and composed mentally, emotionally, and physically, by concentrating on our mental abilities and thinking clearly and logically, always presenting our ideas precisely and succinctly in the form of facts that are either for or against them. For the analyzer, by organizing and structuring our thoughts so as to be focused and directed when speaking. Never speaking in emotive terms or showing our feelings. Always avoiding passing judgment or seeming to criticize them. And the last, for the analyzer, by never confronting or dominating them or trying to take control. And the final one, we must learn to tune in to the other person's mood frequency. For the elitist, by always treating them with respect and due deference, never trying to dominate or control them, always staying clear thinking and focused when talking to them on any subject, concentrating on the big picture rather than minor details, seeing this big picture from every perspective possible, intellectual and emotional, theoretical and practical, personal and impersonal. For the elitist, by never being impolite, crass, ill-mannered, or ill-bred. And the last one is for the elitist, by always sympathetically bonding with their depression. All right. An invitation to the reader. Unlike many so-called self-help books that promise so much and deliver so little, How Can I Get Through to You outlines a practical way of finding, deepening, and healing relationships that actually works. How Can I Get Through to You changes lives. For possible inclusion in follow-up books in this series, the author invites readers who have stories about how this book has made significant changes in their lives to write to. And here is that little. I'm going to assume that that's an old-timey address, but I don't know. Alright, I feel like I read all these other moods that we were dealing with or throughout. Yep, I'm going to put this up here just so that we're covered. Bookland. And then about the authors. D. Glenn Foster is a well-known interview consultant who instructs the FBI, the U.S. State Department, and the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms in professional interview techniques. He also has lectured to professional bodies of judges, trial attorneys, psychiatrists, and psychologists. The originator of the Foster method, which is in constant use professionally and is now adapted for mainstream use. He is in demand by federal, state, and local agencies to conduct interviews in major criminal in civil cases throughout the United States. He lives in Atlanta. And the other author, Mary Marshall, is an attorney with an extensive background in family and matrimonial law. She has been instrumental in broadening the foster method into the field of interpersonal relations and is currently working on its application in situations of domestic violence and how people deceive each other. She lives in Bartow, Pennsylvania. And that is all. Here is the book that will now sit on my fancy little shelf. It has all my other books on it. Thank you for letting me read another book to you. I hope you've gained some insight about yourself and others. I know I did. About exactly the same amount for myself and for others. I do know that some of these are individual philosophies, and the idea is to take what you need and let the rest rest. Thank you for letting me read to you and being with me. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll start a new one today or tomorrow. I appreciate you. Thank you for being with me.